If Alexander Hamilton came back today, a lot of America would probably look pretty familiar to him. A powerful federal government, a national banking system, a massive economy built around finance, trade, industry, and debt. New York is one of the financial capitals of the world, America using economic power almost like a weapon. In a lot of ways, this is the country that Hamilton wanted, but not completely. Because Hamilton didn't just want America to be rich, he wanted it to be disciplined, unified, respected, almost aristocratic in the way that it governed itself. And that part did not exactly happen. Modern America has the financial system Hamilton dreamed of, but the politics would probably horrify him. Cable news, populist campaigns, viral outrage, politicians performing for attention, millions of people arguing about inflation with the confidence of central bankers after watching 3 TikToks. Hamilton believed America needed power, but also believed power should be managed by serious people. So the real question is not just whether Hamilton's vision won, it's which parts of his vision won, and which parts completely escaped his control. After the Revolutionary War, the United States was not a superpower. It was barely a country. The states acted like separate political worlds, the federal government was weak, the economy was unstable, the country had massive war debt. There was no strong national bank, no unified financial system, and no guarantee this experiment would survive. Most Americans had just fought a war against centralized authority, and they were suspicious of giving the national government too much power. Hamilton saw that fear as understandable, but dangerous, because in his mind, the greatest threat to America was not that the federal government would become too strong. It was that the federal government would stay too weak. Weak countries get ignored. Weak countries get divided. Weak countries get manipulated by stronger powers. Hamilton did not want America to be a loose collection of states hoping everything worked out. He wanted America to become a real nation, and the way he planned to do that was through money, which sounds boring until you realize money is one of the main ways countries create power. Debt, banking, credit, taxes, manufacturing, trade, that was Hamilton's battlefield. Hamilton's vision only really makes sense when you compare it to Thomas Jefferson. Jefferson imagined America as a republic of independent farmers, small communities, local power, limited federal government, a country where ordinary landowners were the foundation of freedom. Hamilton thought that vision was already outdated. Jefferson looked at cities, banks, and industry and saw corruption. Hamilton looked at them and saw the future. He believed America needed manufacturing, commerce, financial institutions, and federal government strong enough to coordinate all of it. And if we're being honest, Hamilton's prediction aged much better. Modern America is not a nation of small independent farmers. It is urban, commercial, industrial, financial, global. That is much closer to Hamilton's America than Jefferson's. But Jefferson's fears also aged well. Because a lot of Americans today still feel like banks, corporations, federal agencies, and political elites have too much control. So Hamilton won the structure of America. Jefferson survived in America's distrust of that structure. As Treasury Secretary, Hamilton's biggest move was getting the federal government to assume state war debts. On paper, this was a debt plan. In reality, it was nation building. If the federal government took responsibility for debt, then collectors, states, and political elites would all become financially tied to the success of the national government. Hamilton understood something important. Political loyalty is not just created through speeches about patriotism. It is created through systems. If everyone's money depends on the Union surviving, the Union becomes much harder to break. Then came the National Bank. Hamilton wanted a bank of the United States to stabilize the economy, manage government funds, create credit, and support commerce. Jefferson and his allies hated this. They thought it gave too much power to financial elites and stretched the Constitution beyond what it actually said. Hamilton responded with one of the most important constitutional arguments in American history: implied powers. Basically, if the Constitution gives the government a responsibility, then the government also has the implied power to use reasonable tools to carry it out. That argument helped create the flexible federal government we have today. So have you ever wondered why the federal government can do things that are not literally spelled out word for word in the Constitution? Hamilton is a huge part of that story. This is where Hamilton clearly won. America became exactly the kind of country Jefferson feared and Hamilton expected. It became industrial. It became financial. It became urban. It became globally powerful. It built massive institutions. It developed a national economy tied together by banks, markets, debt, and federal policy. Hamilton would recognize Wall Street. He would recognize a treasury. He would recognize the idea that America's strength comes from credit, commerce, manufacturing, and national coordination. He would probably be amazed by the scale, but not confused by the logic, because the logic is his. A strong country needs a strong financial system. A strong country needs public credit. A strong country needs industry. A strong country needs a federal government capable of acting nationally. This is the Hamilton blueprint, and in many ways it became the American blueprint. But Hamilton would also be shocked by a lot of modern America. First, democracy expanded way beyond what he was comfortable with. Hamilton believed in republican government, but he did not fully trust mass democracy. He thought ordinary people could be emotional, misled, and unstable. He wanted public consent, but filtered through institutions, elite, and educated leadership. Modern America went in the opposite direction. Voting rights expanded. Political participation expanded. Campaigns became more public-facing. Candidates had to appeal directly to ordinary voters. Today, politicians build brands. They go viral. They perform for cameras. They raise money through outrage. Hamilton would probably understand the ambition. He would not respect the format. To him, government was supposed to be serious. Modern politics often rewards whoever can dominate attention. That is very different from the republic Hamilton imagined. Hamilton helped create America's first party system, but he also feared fractional politics. And modern parties would probably disturb him. Not because disagreement exists. Hamilton loved disagreement, maybe too much, but because parties became identities. People do not just vote for parties, they build their worldview around them. News, culture, religion, geography, education, lifestyle, even the brands people buy can become politically coded. Hamilton expected political conflict, but he probably did not expect politics to become a full-time identity system. And that is probably one of the biggest differences between Hamilton's America and modern America. He wanted strong institutions to control political chaos. Instead, political chaos learned how to use the institutions. Hamilton wanted commerce and industry. He wanted capital formation. He wanted manufacturing. But modern corporations are on a scale even he may not have imagined. Some companies today have more money, influence, and global reach than entire countries did in Hamilton's time. Hamilton would probably admire the productivity. He would admire the ambition. He'd probably love the fact that American companies dominate global markets. But he might also see the problem. Hamilton believed in national purpose. He wanted powerful institutions serving the strength of the country. Modern corporations do not always think that way. They serve shareholders. They chase growth. They move globally. They can benefit from America's systems while feeling less tied to America's national interest. That is not exactly what Hamilton had in mind. Hamilton wanted ambition to serve the nation. Modern America often turns ambition into personal wealth and corporate scale. Those are related, but they are not the same thing. Hamilton wanted America to be strong, respected, and capable of defending itself, but he did not live to see the United States become the kind of global military power it is today. Overseas bases, military alliances across the world, a defense budget larger than the next several countries combined, American influence in almost every major global conflict. In some ways, Hamilton would probably support the strength. He wanted America to compete with empires. He wanted the country to be taken seriously. But the scale would be hard for any 18th century founder to process. Hamilton wanted America to compete with empires. He may not have expected America to become one. And that is one of the biggest ironies of his vision. He wanted power because he feared vulnerability. But once a country becomes powerful enough, it creates a completely different set of problems. The best way to understand modern America is this. Hamilton won the economy. Jefferson survived in the culture. America built Hamilton's centralized financial machine. But Americans still talk like Jeffersonians whenever they distrust Washington, banks, corporations, or elites. And that's why the country feels so contradictory. We have a massive federal government, but a culture that often hates federal power. We have powerful financial institutions, but constant anger toward financial elites. We have global power, but deep internal distrust. We have Hamilton's machine, but not Hamilton's control panel. And maybe that is the real story. Hamilton helped build the engine, but once the engine existed, it did not always go where he wanted. If Hamilton saw America today, he would probably recognize the skyscrapers, the banks, the treasury, the debt markets, the industrial power, and the global ambition. He'd probably see all of that and think, this is what I meant. But then he would see the politics, the distrust, the populism. the media incentives, the constant chaos, the way institutions still exist but public faith in them keeps collapsing. And that might be the part he never saw coming. Hamilton wanted America to be powerful enough to survive. He got that. But he also wanted America to be governed by seriousness, discipline, and national purpose. That part is still up for debate. So Hamilton did not perfectly predict America. He helped build the system America still lives inside. A system built for power, a system built for growth, a system built to turn a fragile republic into something much larger. The question is whether that system made America stronger, or whether it created a country so powerful that even its own citizens sometimes feel like they no longer have control.